Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is another Retro Reviewpoint where we take video games of the past, bring them to the present, and document them for the future. In this episode, we take a look at X-Men for the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive, which released in 1993. Are you ready to dig your claws into the past and take your memories by storm? I hope so, because I am. Let's begin. X-Men for the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive is a game that allows you to immerse yourself in the Marvel Universe as one of 4 X-Men. In this game, you can choose between Gambit, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, or Cyclops. Each character has their own stats and biography that you can look through before choosing said character, and they each have their own combat abilities that are accented by their mutant powers. Gambit uses a telescoping bow staff for melee combat, throws playing cards charged with exploding energy. Nightcrawler uses hand-to-hand combat and can teleport from one area to the next, teleport through walls, and even teleport a secondary character in the event you are playing the game with 2 players. Wolverine also uses hand-to-hand combat accented by his adamantium claws, enhanced strength, and is the only X-Men that can regenerate his health. Cyclops uses hand-to-hand combat as well and can release an optic blast to eliminate enemies. During the game, you can call for assistance from 4 other X-Men. The first being Rogue, who will fly in and charge the enemy with a powerful attack. Archangel assists by flying through 3 consecutive times, firing off razor-sharp blades that inflict damage on any enemy in his path. Iceman can assist by laying down a walkway of ice to help you pass over large gaps or help you reach higher platforms. Lastly, Storm will fly down and unleash a barrage of hurricane-force wind, lightning, and rain to damage all enemies in the area. While playing one of the levels, if you fall off the screen, Jean Grey will automatically appear each time, bringing you back to the level ground with your character's health being slightly depleted each time. You can also find pickups that will allow you to replenish your health and mutant power, as well as gain back an assisting X-Men after they've been used. There are 6 levels in this game, not including the Danger Room, which you start in and return to after you die or upon beating each level. Just be careful, because once an X-Man dies, they will not be usable again unless you restart the game or until after you beat the level Mojo's Crunch. To start the game, you'll select your difficulty level. Upon selecting your difficulty level, you'll be able to choose between one of the 4 X-Men I mentioned earlier. Once selected, you can now jump around and explore the Danger Room. You only have a short period of time to explore it before you find yourself in the next level. However, there is a small secret hiding in the Danger Room that will allow you to expand the time you spend inside the Danger Room. To be able to do this, you need to jump up to the highest platform on the far right in the Danger Room. To the right of that platform is a panel that, if hit, will explode, which causes the length of time that you can spend in the Danger Room to increase. To gain access to the next level in the game, you can either allow the time in the Danger Room to expire or jump up to the far left in the Danger Room to where the control room is located and jump into it to move to the next level. The first level of the game is the Savage Land. The X-Men are surprised when they find themselves in the Savage Land without warning. They believe that Professor X is behind this and attempting to test their skills. While in the hologram simulation, you will make your way through a tropical prehistoric land, fighting savages and the occasional pterodactyl. The first boss of this level is Juggernaut. You can choose to take him head-on, attacking his head after he charges you, which will in turn knock off his helmet, defeating him. Or you can stand near the edge of the ledge and he will charge you, and upon missing will fall off the edge. You can also skip him entirely by using Iceman to create a bridge, allowing you to walk right past the area of battle. Once you reach the end, attack the closed off exit, causing it to explode. Once the door explodes, jump through to continue. Now you will find yourself inside of a structure where you will face off with the Master Sorceress, Zaladane. During battle, she will jump around and attack you with balls of magic energy. Avoid the balls of magic energy and hit her until she is defeated. Once beating her, you will find yourself back in the Danger Room. The X-Men will comment on the hologram simulation, and you can explore the Danger Room again. This time you will notice floating orbs in various places throughout the danger room that upon attacking will replenish your health and mutant powers. The next level will assumingly be another holographic simulation where you face off against the Shi'ar Empire. Here you will face various Shi'ar troopers as you fight your way through the level. There are 3 variants of this trooper. You have the white troopers, the green and gold troopers, and the silver troopers. You will also face troopers on hover bikes throughout the level as well. This is also the first level where you must collect keys in order to make it through to the end. Once you have gathered all 3 keys, you can then gain access to a docking port where you hop onto a starship and travel to the next part of the level. During your flight, you will face off against all 3 variants of the Shi'ar troopers again. You must defeat all of them to make it to the next dock. You will also have to avoid small asteroids as the ship travels through space. Once all troopers are defeated, the starship will then dock and you can enter the next part of this level. Here you will face silver troopers until you reach the boss of this level, Deathbird. She will fly around and attack you using hand-to-hand combat, but also by hurling javelins at you. She is backed up by the troopers on hover bikes as well. Once defeated, you will meet with Lalandra, who will inform you that you are actually not in a holographic simulation. She informs you that she needs your help to take out Deathbird, who is threatening to take over the Empire. Now with Deathbird defeated, the threat is over. Lalandra then teleports you back to Earth, where you find yourself in the danger room again. The X-Men will then express that the holographic simulations are beginning to hurt, and are also confused about why Lalandra didn't ask Professor X to have them help her. You can now explore the danger room again, and you will notice that the floating orbs are now moving up and down in place. As you enter the next level, Excalibur's Lighthouse, the X-Men will take notice that something is wrong, and this is where we finally hear from Professor X through a psychic link. He tells the X-Men that something is indeed wrong, but he needs more time and warns the X-Men to be careful as their life is in danger. As you make your way through this level, you will jump across rock platforms. Be careful as some of the rocks will crumble beneath your feet. Pausing the game will allow you to see where the rocks will crumble so you can traverse through the level safer. You will eventually run across Sabertooth, and you must defeat him to continue. Just like in the Savage Land with Juggernaut, here you can also use Iceman to allow you to bypass Sabertooth completely and continue through the level. Continuing through the level, you will come across a sword and a stone that is protected by a few orbs of light. If those orbs hit you, they will deal damage, so be careful. Knock the sword out of the stone and continue forward. Jump through the doorway at the end to make your way into Excalibur's Lighthouse. Once inside, you must find and destroy panels on the wall to allow yourself to move through the lighthouse. There will be orbs that will move through the lighthouse, and upon contact with your character, they will attack you by transforming into one of your fellow X-Men before turning back into an orb and continuing through the lighthouse. These ghostly mirages will continue to randomly appear as you make your way through the level. You will eventually find a pair of glasses near the bottom of the lighthouse that will allow you to see and defend yourself from the ghostly mirages. As you move through the lighthouse, you will once again come across Juggernaut. After defeating him, hit the panel in the same room to continue through the level. Once you have found your way back to the top of the lighthouse via an elevating platform, you will come across the next boss, Apocalypse. To make this level easier, you can also skip right to Apocalypse by using Nightcrawler to teleport through the wall at the beginning of the level and onto the platform. Apocalypse is one of the hardest bosses in this game, as it is near impossible to hit him due to him absorbing energy so often. Once he is defeated, you will see the danger room begin to appear. Soon after, you find yourself back in the danger room and speaking with Professor X face to face. Professor X informs the X-Men that the danger room computers have been infected by a virus that has taken over the holographic projectors and increased the pain threshold to the point of serious harm. As each holographic simulation is started, the program gets worse and worse. The virus has essentially turned the holographic simulations into a deadly reality. Professor X states that he needs more time to hack away at the virus code to figure out a strategy and urges the X-Men to continue on and persevere. He then wishes them good luck. You are once again left to explore the danger room, and now will notice that the floating orbs are moving in place in a circular motion. For the next level, you'll find yourself in Ahab's world. In this level, you'll face turret guns and sentinels to start. You must work your way through destroyed buildings, dodging toxic waste puddles and jumping over holes in the floors. If you go up to the top of the building and try and make your way through the level that way, you'll have to deal with flying plane-like objects that come through portals to do you harm. As you work your way through the level, just as in Excalibur's Lighthouse, there are a few panels that you must take out to make it through the level. You will also face mutant creatures known as hounds that break out of liquid-filled cells. You'll eventually come to a large gap in the level filled with flying sentinels that you must cross. You can use Iceman to do this easily. Once across the gap, you will face more hounds as you make your way through the level. Towards the end of the level, you will face Ahab. He will appear out of portals and attack you. There are two different attacks that he uses to try to defeat the X-Men. He will either completely appear out of the portal and throw a spear before disappearing back into the portal, or partially appear out of a portal and shoot a beam of energy out of his spear before disappearing. In order to hit him, you must wait until he fully appears and then strike before he throws his spear to do damage, which can be extremely challenging. Once you have his life down far enough, he will begin to spawn the portals that release the flying plane-like objects, making the battle even more difficult. Once you defeat Ahab, you will see the danger room begin to appear again and find yourself free of Ahab's world. The X-Men will speak to Professor X again, who tells you the reason you keep coming back to the danger room after each simulation is because you are defeating the program. After the program is defeated, it takes some time to adjust itself to create a more difficult simulation to put the X-Men through. Professor X then tells the X-Men that he has found a way to defeat the program, but the X-Men must defeat the next simulation and then disable and reset the computer that controls the danger room. He says that he will assist you if he can, but this must be done by the X-Men. You are then free to explore the danger room again, where the flying orbs are no longer stationary and are flying across the danger room in various directions. The next to last level is Mojo's Crunch. This level has a timer on the left side of the screen. If Mojo's jaw closes, then the danger room explodes, killing the X-Men, so you want to keep that in mind while going through this level. As you make your way through the level, you will face off against various enemies in the shape of moving turrets, dog-like creatures, flying entities that shoot fire at you. You'll come across obstacles such as exploding TVs, where Mojo's face appears right before the TV explodes, areas with fire spouts, and floors that shoot up fire from them. Once you make it to Mojo, you must defeat him by hitting the back of his robotic platform. He will try to attack you by shooting beams of energy at you, or making the TVs at either side of the room shoot out balls of energy. Once defeated, Mojo will disappear, but unlike the previous 4 levels, you aren't taken back to the danger room. You are still trapped inside of Mojo's Crunch. Continue through the level, taking on more enemies and obstacles until you finally come to an area where you see the danger room. Hitting the image of the danger room will cause it to explode. You will now notice that the screens of the TVs on the left side of the area are showing Professor X's face, and it appears he is trying to tell the X-Men something. Now here is where the developers of the game made a unique choice on how to allow you to continue the game. Remember that Professor X told the X-Men that they must reset the danger room computer. In order to do this, you must lightly and quickly tap the reset button on your Sega Genesis to complete the reset of the danger room computers. This is how the developers broke the 4th wall and made you feel like you were really a part of the game. Be careful though, because if you push down the reset button for too long, it will completely reset the game, making you start all over. Once you've tapped the reset button, you are met with a screen with a bunch of 1s and 0s appearing in sequence. You then see a message that says "System Reset Virus Program Suspended" and "Code key required for complete system reactivation." Once that screen disappears, you are met with a cutscene that explains that the signal that carried the virus to the Danger Room originated from Asteroid M, which is Magneto's fortress in space. The X-Men must go there to get the missing codes to prevent something like the virus from happening again. The X-Men then go aboard the Blackbird to travel to Asteroid M. Once the cutscene is over, you will find yourself in the Danger Room for the last time in this game. If you lost any X-Men up to this point, this is where they will be accessible again. You can explore the Danger Room as before, but will notice that there are no more flying orbs. You can also jump in the Danger Room's control room where the computers are as well. Once you leave the Danger Room, you'll see another cutscene which will show the Blackbird arriving at Asteroid M. Now that the X-Men have successfully landed on Asteroid M, we can make it through the last level of this game. You will face soldiers that when firing their guns traps the X-Men in an electric stasis. Any movement will inflict damage upon the X-Men, so you cannot move until the stasis ends. To make it through the level, you must hit a few different panels as you fight off the soldiers, make it through areas surging with electric current, and also making it across large gaps with floating platforms. Once you make it through the level of enemies and obstacles, you'll find yourself face to face with Magneto. Upon facing him, you'll start off by pulling together metal to form a ball and throw it at you. You must avoid these objects as best you can. You also cannot harm Magneto in any way while his magnetic shield is up. Magneto will begin to move around the screen as he moves towards your character. You can hurt him once his magnetic shield is down, but you must be quick. In order to do damage to Magneto, you must wait on one of the platforms until he gets close, then jump over him right before he lands on the platform and kick him while in the air to do damage. Once Magneto lands on the platform, his magnetic shield is gone as he charges up to hit you with a beam of energy, leaving him vulnerable to attack. Once Magneto is defeated, you are met with a cutscene where Magneto and Professor X have a discussion about their views on mankind accepting the mutant kind. As you'd expect, both Magneto and Professor X have views that are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Magneto's viewpoint is that the X-Men must be stopped because they follow Professor X's vision of harmony and unity among humankind and mutant kind, and that vision is flawed. Humankind will always try and enslave the mutants, and Magneto won't stand for it. While Professor X believes that the X-Men will be the example that the world needs to see that humankind and mutant kind can work together and live together with acceptance of one another. Being in a state of defeat and hearing what Professor X has to say, Magneto then tells Professor X to permanently take him out. Professor X tells Magneto that he will not, but he must destroy his computers to eradicate the virus. Magneto ends the conversation by telling Professor X the war between them will still rage. You then see the satellite computer on Asteroid M explode. Before the game ends, you are met with a cutscene of the X-Men standing together with a statement that reads, "For what we choose to believe, we live and die for. We strive to better the world we are thrown into. We are." Then the screen fades and you are met with the word X-Men as the credits roll. At the end of the credits, the statement, "Leave the world in better condition than you found it," is shown. Right after the screen goes black, you hear Mojo's laugh. Now that all levels of this game have been covered, I will now share with you a secret, exploit, and cheat that this game contains. The cheat to this game allows you to level skip and have unlimited assistance from your fellow X-Men. The cheat will also allow you to refill your life bar and power bar by pausing and unpausing the game at any time in any level. There is also a way you can use Gambit to skip through the first 3 levels of the game. In order to activate the level skip unlimited assistance cheat, you need to have only one controller plugged into port 1 on the Sega Genesis. Power on the Sega Genesis, and once the title screen appears, hold down on the A and C buttons along with down on the directional pad and press start. Once you see Magneto's face appear, unplug the controller from port 1 and plug it into port 2 and press start. Then on the difficulty level select screen, unplug the controller from port 2 and plug it back into port 1 and press start again after you've chosen your desired difficulty level. Now select one of the 4 X-Men that are available to you. This cheat also works with 2 players. Instead of unplugging the controller from port 1 and plugging it into port 2, just take the second controller and plug it into port 2 and continue the cheat with the second controller. After you've selected one of the X-Men, move to the right where you will see a platform, and right under it are 8 panels. Now stand in front of any of the 8 panels and hold down on the directional pad and press the C button. This should launch you into one of the 6 levels of the game. From my experience, the first panel will put you into the first level, the Savage Land. The second and third panels will put you into the second level, the Shi'ar Empire. The fourth panel will put you into the third level, Excalibur's Lighthouse. The fifth and sixth panels put you into the fourth level, Ahab's World. The seventh panel puts you into the fifth level, Mojo's Crunch. And lastly, the eighth panel will put you into the sixth and final level of the game, Asteroid M. Now let's talk about Gambit for a second. If you select Gambit at the start of the game, you can actually use him to skip the first 3 levels of the game, as long as you do it properly. With Gambit selected, head to the control room at the top left corner of the danger room and jump in. As the screen begins to fade, press and hold the A button. This will immediately skip the Savage Land and put you back into the danger room. Repeat this step again and you will skip the meeting with Zaladane. Once back in the danger room, repeat that first step again and you will skip the Shi'ar Empire and you will find yourself back in the danger room. Once back in the danger room, you can use this exploit one more time, but it's a little different. Go ahead and head back to the control room and jump in, and as the screen fades, if you press and hold A, you'll notice that you can't skip the next level, Excalibur's Lighthouse. However, make your way through the level until you reach the entrance to the lighthouse. Now this is where the exploit will come into play one more time. As you enter the lighthouse and the screen begins to fade, press and hold the A button. You will now skip the level and find yourself back in the danger room. Now you will need to work your way through the game as normal. Now I'm not sure if the next thing is really a secret or not. If you remember at the beginning of the game, as you're watching the satellite send the virus signal to Earth, if you look closely, the signal is made up of ones and zeros. I took the ones and zeros as they appeared and put them into a decoder to see if they said anything. Shockingly enough, what showed up was the words, "Don't talk now," with 2 exclamation points. I don't know if the developers put this in as an inside joke or what. I'm not really sure what it means. I couldn't find anything about it online, but still I found it quite interesting and wanted to mention it. If I think about it, my personal experiences with this game are fun yet frustrating. This is one of the hardest games I've ever played on the Sega Genesis. I remember reading gaming magazines as a kid to try and find ways to beat it. My brother and I would play the game constantly, and if I remember correctly, the furthest we ever got was the 3rd level, Excalibur's Lighthouse. I still remember the day my dad found the level skip cheat code in a gaming magazine. My dad, brother, and I sat down, and after getting the code to work, we finally beat the game. Even though this game was a difficult game, to me, it was still an enjoyable game to play with or without someone else. This has really been a blast for the past for me, and I've enjoyed it, but that's going to wrap up this retro review point of X-Men for the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive. I hope you enjoyed watching through this episode. As always, if you'd like to see a particular game make it into the Retro Reviewpoint archive, let me know down in the comments below. Feel free to share your feedback, any questions you may have, as well as anything you are aware of about this game that I may have missed in the comment section as well. It's been fun, but it's time to power down for now. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.